Hello students, welcome to GLA University Mathura. Today we are going to begin with the tenses. Have you ever thought that how much these tenses are important for you? Or once you start forming up a sentence, they play a very integral role. So what do you mean by tenses? First of all, the question arises in your mind that what do you mean by it? So let's have the answer to this question. The word tenses is actually driven from a Latin word that is known as tempus. And now this tempus word is actually, what does it mean? It means the time. Time which tells you about or something, the action that happened at which time. At which time? Maybe like once we talk about the present time or any action that already had happened in the past or maybe will happen in future. So first of all, it tells you about the time reference. Secondly, my dear students, it tells you about the degree of completion. Like how much that task is done exactly. Like if I give you the example, like when we talk about the present perfect tense, it tells you about the action that has already started in the past and has finished till the present time. Right. So what is exactly a verb? Indicates the time of action, event or condition by changing its form. Form here refers to the verb forms. Then now the concept is clear. Tenses can be divided into three parts. The first one is present tense, second one is past tense, and third one is future time reference or future tenses. Exactly, present tense tells you or expresses the action or any event that happened in present. Exactly, it tells you about an unchanging or repeated action. Like suppose if I say, I wake up daily in the morning at 5 o'clock. So that is my habitual action. It tells you about the habitual action or unavoidable circumstances sometimes. Or we can say sometimes the actions that are universal truth. Now moving on to next one, that is reoccurring action or situation. The action that is reoccurring again and again then represents a widespread truth that I have already told you, universal truth. As if, for example, if I give you sun rises in the east, I would not say that sun will rise in the east or sun rose in the east. It is a universal truth. So we have to write sun rises in the east. Now second one is past tense expresses. Or the past tense, it tells you about any action that already has happened in the past. Right? So this is what past tense. Third one, future tense expresses. Now in this case, future tense expresses any action or situation that will happen in future. For example, if I take one example and transform that example into present tense and then past tense and future, the idea will become more clear. Now let's say if the bus will not come tomorrow. So in present, if I'll say that I walk to school. Right? That will be in present tense. Secondly, if I'm talking about past tense, I walked to school. I'm putting second form of verb. Walk, walked. So I walked to school. And in future I will say that I will walk to school. Right? So these are three time references: present, past and future. I have already given ample information about these three tenses. Now coming back to present tense, as today we are going to focus on present tense. Let's begin with present tense. Based on the aspect, all three tenses are further divided into four parts. What are these four parts? Look at this one. Present indefinite, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. In the same manner, past tense, these four, and future again in four. So these are based on aspects. Now we will take all these aspects one by one, especially focusing on the present tense. Now the rules of the tenses. Exactly. We have to focus on these rules. They are really very important. Like once we talk about present tense, if we go on to simple forms, that is an indefinite, present indefinite tense. then we use verbs first form plus es or s. For example, if I say he goes to school, right? I am putting go plus es, goes to school. Secondly, if I say progressive form means continuous. So in continuous tense, I will say he is going to school. Now in this case, he is going to school. This shows the continuation of that action. Now next one is perfect forms. In perfect forms, as I have already told you, that we believe or we think that these actions have already started in the past. And till present, it's continuing. So have, has plus verbs third form. So I will write he, tell me has or have. He has walked or he has gone. That is third form. Go, went, gone. And then last, perfect progressive form. In other words, you can say that is present perfect continuous tense. In this case, we use has, have plus been plus verbs first form plus ing. That is, I have been going to school. Right. So, that's it. And now taking them one by one with examples. Now these are present tense. These are the rules of these things. Further division of all these. Present indefinite tense, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. We will take them one by one. Now next one. Present indefinite tense. Now, as I have already told you, present indefinite tense deals with exactly all those actions that are happening in present. And at the moment of speaking or writing, that action is going on. For example, the sun rises in the east. That is a universal truth. He does not play football. That is a negative sentence. Then, does cow eat grass? That is an interrogative one using does. Do you eat? Now, this is again an example of interrogative sentence. Now, let's deal with them one by one. Universal truth and habitual action. We use simple present tense while talking about any universal truth or general truth, like oil floats on water, like cow eat grass, sun rises in the east, or earth revolves round the sun. So these are universal truth or general truth. And second one, habitual action. I always get up at 5 a.m. So the indication can be like you can feel connected with this with the help of always. So this clearly shows that it is in continuation. He is talking about the present tense. He always get up at 5 a.m. That is a habitual action. We cycle to school every day. Every day again is giving you the indication that it is exactly a habitual action. Then they drink hot coffee every day. Again, this is indicating you the same aspect. So, planned future actions. Sometimes we think that, okay, we cannot say anything in present tense while talking about future. No, it's not like that. Once we talk about any planned future action, we can definitely talk in present tense. That is simple present tense. Now look at this example. Tom leaves for Mumbai tomorrow. Rocket lands on the moon at 10 a.m. Or the college reopens in July. That is confirmed. The college definitely reopens in July. Nobody can change this fact. So this is a planned future action. Again in history, going back to history, if I say, like nobody will claim that, okay, once you are talking about history, you have to talk only in past tense? No. So look at this example. Gandhi and Nehru are two great men of India. In this example, you have seen that if I say Gandhi and Nehru were two great men of India, then it will be wrong. Why? Because still we say that Gandhi and Nehru are great men of India. We cannot deny this fact. So, moving on to next aspect, that is forms of verb that are used in simple present tense. As I have already told you, it uses, like in this, we generally use verbs first form. And what are the bifurcations? I, we, you, they, plus any other plural subject will definitely take verbs first form. For example, I, we, you, they, or boys, that is plural, play tennis. I am not putting plays over here because boys, they They all are plural. Right. Moving on to next one. He, she, it and any other singular subject will always take verbs first form plus es or s. Now in this case, he, she, it or Sita runs very fast. Now runs very fast. Look at this aspect, because all these things are singular. Right. So all these subjects are singular. We have to be very cautious while using or while putting s and es. Right, students? Negative and interrogative sentences. As you might be knowing this thing, that once you talk about negative sentence, it must have some negative words, maybe like not, maybe neither nor, or we can say never. So examples are so many, and that makes the sentence negative. Then move on to interrogative sentences, that puts up any question in front of you. Now move on to the structure. I, we, you, they and any other plural subject will always take do not. So concentrate or focus on this aspect, students, that we are supposed to use do with it, do not. In the same manner, he, she, it or any other singular subject will always take does not. Right. Now the same rule will be followed with all these things, like we do not play. This is an example of this is an example of negative sentence. Second one, do we play? This is an example of interrogative. Now look at this structure. Over here I have put the supporting verb or helping verb in the beginning, and after that do we play, subject and then verb, and question mark, definitely it's very important. We do not play, this is definitely again the structure. Look at the structure of this thing. Negative sentence, subject plus supporting verb plus not and then verb. Move on to she does not write. Look at this aspect. Why this is like I have made it bold. Write. And does she write? Again write, not writes. So like you have to concentrate on this aspect, that no writes. I'm not using s or es with write. Right? Because over here we have already added does. Do plus es. That is a clear indication to remember that again with does we cannot add s or es to the main verb. Boys do not run. Boys, exactly, it is a plural subject. So boys do not run. Then do boys run? Again the interrogative sentence. Now move on to next slide. That's it. So let's begin with present continuous tense. Have you ever thought that any action that goes on continuously is always described in present continuous tense? Present continuous tense, suppose he is running, I am jumping, or students or children are spilling out of their homes. So what is it? It's telling you the continuation of any action. The action is going on. Right. So let's start with continuous action, event or conditions. There are few examples of it. I am playing. Rekha is writing a letter. I am meeting Mukul tomorrow. They are going to sleep. Now, have you ever like paid attention or focused on the use of helping verb? Am, is, are. So is, am, are the helping verbs that are supposed to be used with, or we can say in, present continuous tense, depending on the subject. Right. Next, to express anguish and future plan. Like it is not necessary that a future plan, or we can say that any continuous tense or any continuous present continuous tense will not be used to express the anguish or any kind of future plan. Because it is not particularly like said that okay, future plan, if there is any future plan, you have to write your sentence only in future tense. No. Look at this example. He is always complaining about the boy. That is an anguish. Always complaining. Then she is always demanding money. Always demanding. They are always disturbing me. So always. So these are the examples which tells you that continuously he is disturbing me. Then if I am talking about future plans, they are going to write a book soon. So the plan is there in their mind. Intention, or we can say plan is there in their mind. We are leaving for Delhi next week. Move on to next one. Negative and interrogative. Now negative and interrogative, I am not playing. That is a negative one. Am I playing? You are not writing. Are you writing? Are you not writing? So you are, I am. It depends on the subject. It depends on the subject which you are using. Along with that, according to that, I am. I will not say I are or I is. Right? Then present perfect tense. What is present perfect tense? Exactly. Any action that started in the past, that began in the past, important part. Right? Focus on this aspect. Began in the past and continues till present, has just been complete. Right? I have lost my exercise book. She has just arrived here. Or the bus has not arrived here. Now the basic thing that you have to focus is the use of supporting verbs. What are these? Or helping verbs. Has and have. Now most of the students, maybe some of you might get confused where to use has and where to use have. Yes. Now we shall begin with the general rules that we have to focus on. Where to use has, where to use have. Now look at this. I, we, you, they and any other plural subject will always take have. Verbs third form. And he, she, it, any other singular subject will always take has. Verbs third form. So for example, I, we, you, they, boys have done this task. Or he, she, it, Sita has drunk the milk. Now mind this thing. Drink, drank, drunk. Third form of verb. Along with has. So, and have, done. Do, did, done. Third form of verb. That is very essential that you have to focus on this aspect of third form. Along with has and have. Right. Now next move to negative and interrogative sentences. Right. As if like earlier we have already done the structure. Like how are we going to make a sentence negative and then interrogative. Or we can say interrogative, negative sometimes. So let's see the examples. Rita had not answered, has not answered. Rita has not answered. Has Rita answered the question? Now this is a question or interrogative sentence. I have put the supporting verb or helping verb has at the beginning and Rita as subject, answered main verb. The question is again an object with interrogative mark, that is question mark. So this is the structure that you have to follow once you want to make a sentence an interrogative one. Now let's take the second example. They have not heard it. Then have they heard it? So these are two examples through which like the condition becomes more clear. The bus has already left. These are few more examples which suggest or which tells you that okay, already, just, yet, all these words can be used in present perfect tense. Now present perfect continuous tense. Exactly, like what is the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous tense? Once you talk about present perfect, it tells you any action that actually began or like started in the past and continued till the present or might be possible like it ended, it may end up. Whereas in present perfect continuous, as the word itself suggests, it is progressive. That is an action or event or condition that began in the past. Emphasize on this point, began in the past, but the action continues till present. Right? So, I and you have been playing since 3 o'clock. Since 3 o'clock. Or he, she has been playing for 2 hours. So, again these are the examples since and for. They are used to specify the time reference. Now, use of since and for. Most of the students get confused where to use since and where to use for. Now, the specific or we can say an easy way out of learning these since, the use of since and for is since is generally used for specific time. For is used for unspecific time. For example, since 10 o'clock, since Monday, since January, since my childhood. Like if I give you the example, I have been sitting in the library since 10 o'clock. So this is again an example of specifying the time. Like since 10 o'clock I have been sitting over there in the GLA library. Second example, for 2 hours. For 6 months. Now what is the difference between unspecific time? like unspecified one, for 2 hours. What does it suggest? That I'm talking about, whether I'm talking about morning or evening or night, which 2 hours I'm talking about? That is a big question. Present perfect continuous or present versus present perfect. Now in this case, let's read out these two sentences, because generally students get confused where to use present perfect tense and where to use present perfect continuous tense. Look at this one. I have studied here for 5 hours. I have studied. It clearly indicates that action is done. I have studied here for 5 hours. Complete action. Now next one, I have been studying here for 5 hours. That means the action is still going on. I started reading or studying here for 5 hours. And like as the action started in the past, as if over here also, in the first one. But it is still continuing in the present, here for 5 hours. The next example is again of since, using since. We have lived in this town since 1978. We have been living in this town since 1978. Now in this case, you can definitely practice more sentences in your, like the things that are provided to you or the material that is provided to you. You can use that as that thing also to sharpen your skill, definitely to sharpen your skill of learning and practicing more about present tense. Right. Now, that's all for today. But before completing off, I would like to say that what we all have learned till now, that is about present tense. And present tense based on the facts, or we can say based on aspects, they are divided into 4 parts. Present, so first of all, simple present. Second one, present continuous. Third, present perfect. And fourth, present perfect continuous. We have already seen the use of do and does, where to use do and where to use does. Like do is used with, if I say I, we, you, they. Now I use do with them. And does, we use he, she, it. We use does with them. In the same manner, we read or we learned the use of has and have. That is again a very important point. You have to concentrate on the use of has and have. Has will be used with singular one and have will be used with plural one. Right. So do more, lots and lots of practice in order to sharpen your skills. Right. Thank you everyone. And for further queries, you can definitely contact Dr. Over here at this site, divya.gupta@gla.ac.in. You can send me a mail if you have any query. Thank you and wish you all the best. Till then, we meet again. Right. Thank you.